Hey everybody, how are you guys? I hope everyone is doing okay during these crazy times. I know some of you must be like, what is this girl doing recording a video? But I just, sometimes you just feel like you're called to do stuff. So, basically today I just want to talk a little bit about this thing called Illumination of Conscience. Basically, like, my mom has told me about it in the past. I had heard about it, but it wasn't until Holy Friday that I bumped into a video on YouTube that really went into detail of what it was. And it was actually a priest who, he claims, obviously I have to say claims because it's not approved by the church, but who claims to get that he's been up to heaven and God has given him messages and things like that. And so yeah, I just want to talk about it today. So basically, the Illumination of Conscience, many people actually have prophesied this. It isn't Father Michel Rodrigue was the one that I watched. He's not the first to talk about this. And he's not the first, and he's not the only one who, prophesies about the Illumination of Conscience. So basically what it is we're going to receive a time, I guess it's a huge grace realistically, where we are going to see, before the illumination, we're going to see a huge sign in the sky, which we're going to see Jesus on the Jesus on the cross, not crucified, but in his glory. And right after that, everyone's going to be able to see it no matter where you are. Even if you're on a plane, like, the planes will stop. And so after that, after we see that sign, then we're going to go through what they call the Illumination of Conscience. So basically what it is God is going, or Jesus is going to show you all your sins from the first time in your life as a toddler, or I don't know, that you first sin. And he's going to see how your life, or our life, my life, transpired after that, and how we kept sinning. Not only that, but we're going to be able to feel the pain of our sin, how it offended Jesus, how it affected those around us. So, like, there's a book, and you can find it. It's called The Warning, Illumination of Conscience. And there's so many people who have already been, well, not so many, but there's been some people who've already been through it. And it's part of their conversion story. And some of them, there was one, I remember, he talked about how he sold this guy drugs, and this man was the glue to his family, the provider, and he ended up committing suicide. And so God showed him how, he took part in that man's suicide and how many people it affected. So this is something that we're gonna live through. I believe it was Father Michel Rodrigue. I could be wrong, or no, it was Luz de Maria is another person. I think she's from Venezuela, maybe Colombia. I can't remember off the top of my head. But Saint Michael the Archangel told her, this is the generation that is going to live through it. And I believe it. I mean, literally, look at the world around us today. There's so many crazy things happening, and it's so upsetting if you really dig and do your research. But, I have to keep reminding myself, like, this is a part of God's plan. Like, when Jesus was going to be crucified, and, his apostles were like, no, like, should we fight? Like, what do we do? And Jesus was like, no, like, it has to be as God's plan. So this is part of it, and this is only the beginning. And you see like so many people turning against each other, friends against friends, because we can't see eye to eye. And there's a lot happening, and we really need to open our eyes, open our minds to the truth, pray about the truth, because it's gonna get tough. So anyways, why am I telling you guys about this? What compelled me to do this? I think I've always said, oh, I want to do like a podcast. Like I would love to do a podcast. But it never really happened. But this time around, and this has been weeks, I've been delaying weeks, excuse after excuse, but finally today I had some time to do this video. But basically, because after the Illumination of Conscience, basically Father Michelle Rodriguez prophesies that churches are going to be booming. I mean, it's going to be crazy. People wanting to be baptized, people wanting to do their first communion, their confirmation and confession, because it's going to be so, illuminating again. Like your mind is just going to be like, oh my gosh, and you're going to be like, I want to make this right. I need to do what I need to do. So they say churches are going to be so full. Every priest is going to have someone there, begging for confession and so on and so forth. And so I believe it's like for 2 weeks. I can't remember. Like, don't quote me on those kind of things. But basically, God told him like the devil is going to be like locked up. Like he can't intervene with this plan for some time. So everyone has an opportunity to go and do what they need to do. So he's going to be locked up, because obviously imagine being shown this. You're on a plane, let's say, because that's probably the craziest thought, is like you're on a plane, the plane stops, and all of a sudden everyone's just like seeing their life just roll before them. It's pretty drastic, And so how could you possibly discern something like that, with the enemy sitting there attacking you like it's fake, you dreamed it, like no way, God doesn't care about that, or, whatever. So he's going to not be able to intervene. But so it's only for a certain amount of time. And then after that, he's going to be back to himself. And a lot of people are going to be like think that it was fake, because the news and the media is going to tell you that it was fake, that it was something to do with new technology, and science can explain it. You guys know how that goes. So it's very important to get the message out to people about this, because if we do get to live through it, you want as many people to know about it, so they know, hey, when it happens, like, okay, and then you hear the media try to tell you that it was something different, you're going to remember, no, it wasn't, because so-and-so talked to me about this, or told me about this, or I read about it, or whatever. So it's just awareness. Obviously, it's your discretion. You need to pray about it, ask God to illuminate, to help you, to guide you, to discern whatever you need to do. But I think it's so important to look into it. One of the YouTubes is Queen of Peace Media, Queen of Peace Media. You can look up Father Michelle Rodriguez, it's spelled like Michael. And he's from Canada. And so for me, like, as you know, I'm obviously Catholic, and if you're Catholic, like, to be an exorcist, it requires pretty much for you to be a saint, because during an exorcism, whoever, the devil will literally make fun of anyone who tries to exorcise him. Like, who do you think you are? You're this and this and this kind of person. So Father Michael Rodriguez, or Michelle Rodriguez, he is an exorcist priest. So in my opinion, that says so much for him to be really putting himself out there, saying these very, like, what do you call it? Like detailed prophecies, big claims that he's been to heaven, that he's seen Padre Pio, I don't know, Saint Padre Pio, you know, Saint Michael the Archangel. I mean, he said he's seen Mary and baby Jesus in heaven. And so, I mean, I'm just saying, those are some pretty big claims coming from an exorcist priest. So if you know what the requirements to be an exorcist priest and how serious it is, you should know. Like, if someone like him is saying these things, there's probably a lot of truth to it. So I just wanted to let you guys know, look into it. The book is called The Warning, The Illumination of Conscience. Like I said, you can look up. There's so many people who have been through it already. I have the book in my phone through Kindle, but you can buy a hard copy. Queen of Peace Media, they have all the Father Michel Rodrigue did some conferences here in the United States. So and they were recorded, so they're on YouTube. They have a website, Countdown to the Kingdom, great website. Different people, or different saints or prophets are on there, different people with different prophecies, but they're all like prophesizing about the same thing. So yeah, I want you guys to look into it. Let's start a conversation. Like, let's talk about this. Let's stop dwelling on the negative and let's start looking at the outlook. At the end of the day, you know, like, we're gonna go through it, but that brings us closer to God. At the end of the day, I mean, the dream, the goal is to see God, to be in heaven, to be crowned a saint. Like, I mean, that's my goal. I don't know about you, but so let's talk about this. I want to hear what you guys think. I want you guys to read. I want you guys to look into it. Do your research. I mean, it makes sense. There's also been parts of the Bible, which maybe I'll include in like the description or the comment, whatever. It's my first YouTube video, so below. But there are things in the Bible I'm like, wow, like that makes sense. They talk about that, like being able to see Jesus in the sky in his glory. Like, I read it in the Bible. It's in Matthew. I believe it's Matthew 24 or somewhere around there. So some of these things are in the Bible. It just, obviously, the Bible doesn't speak it the way we would speak today. So maybe we would just take it differently. I don't know. But anyways, look into it. It's super important. I remember Father Michael Rodrigue said by summer, we need to have like 3 months worth of food. And then by fall, you need to have, you know, you should do like a full, like, I guess it's called a general confession, which is like about your whole life. So I've been working on it. I haven't taken myself to confession yet, but I've been trying to process just my whole life and things that I've done that have affected others, how it affected them. And most importantly, just asking God to guide me, to lead me, the Holy Spirit. And the more I asked, the more God was like, yes, make this video. So like I said, comment, you know, let's start a conversation. Let's talk about the topic. Let as many know as possible, because if it does happen, hey, you'll know, like, I was told this was gonna happen, and the media and the TVs and the phones and all that stuff won't be able to change your mind. There's so many details, there's so much information. I can make a more detailed video if you guys don't like to read or don't want to look for it. Like, I would be more than happy to, but this is just a general, like I said, let's talk and we'll go from there. All right, God bless you guys. Bye.